Kadosh, Boker Or, Masechet Bava Kamma Daf Kufhei Amud Aleph, 105. Okay, we were just speaking about, right? Yeah, we were just speaking about right now that if it was going to be considered a milvi al peh, which means a loan, so they cannot goveh not from the Yorshim and not from the Leku Hot. So Amri, so they said in the Gemara that he was already a Mabedin, which means that the father already went to Betin. And since the father already went to Betin for the Gezelan, they told him that he's going to be Chayav, so that's why they are also obligated to pay from the Nichsea Yerusha. Says the Gemara, this is where we're starting today. If you're going to tell me right now that the father went in front of a Betin, so why did you tell me that he only has to pay for the Keren? He should also pay for the Chomesh. Because remember, when a person comes and he steals, and he swears that he never stole, and then they actually catch him, and then he admits that he stole, he has to pay Chomesh. So answers the Gemara, Amar Avuna B'Rad Yoshua, lefi she'en meshalmin Chomesh al kfirat shi'abud karkaot. You never pay Chomesh when you go against the shibud of karka. Chomesh, right, is because of the shavua, and there's no shavuot mamon by karka. Here we're talking about a piece of land. So therefore, since we're talking about a piece of land, that's why we don't have this concept of the shavua, right? And therefore, we don't have the concept also by the chomesh as well, which is the extra fifth. The Bava Kamma Daf says, what we're dealing with, he had, right, something, here it says it's an amtachat, it's like a money, right, by the father, which was mufked biyad achirim, right, in order that the son doesn't know the Gizela that came to him in Yedusha. So therefore, in such a case, the Kerem Mishalem da'ite because he has it, right? But the Chomesh, he doesn't pay. But when he actually swore, he didn't swear falsely, right? Because he didn't know. So since he didn't know, that's why he doesn't pay the fifth, which means the son came and he swore, I don't have anything, my father, what are you talking about? But then afterwards, he did have it. But since at the time when he made the oath, he did not know that really be'emet there was stolen property, so he didn't swear falsely. That's why he doesn't pay for the extra fifth. He only pays for the keren. Okay? Fine. 2 dots. Nekudotayim. Lemala kufhei amud aleph. Okay, everyone has it? 2, 4, 6, 8 lines down, where it says, chutz mipachot shaveh pruta bakeren. Right? That what happens right now, if the nigzal came and he forgave the gazlan, right, on the keren and on the chomesh, except for a shaveh pruta and the keren, right? So he said if it's going to be less than a shaveh pruta, so therefore he does not have to actually go to him, okay? But if there is going to be a shaveh pruta, he has to go back. So Amar Rav Papa comes and he says, Lo shana, what we're dealing with, ela she'en gizela kayemet. That's only if you don't have the gizela. Meaning like this. Here we're talking about a case where the gizela in itself is not there anymore. Somebody stole something, and what he stole is already gone. You know, it happens all the time. They come, hey, they sold it onwards, the money went, they used it, they ate it, they whatever, it's gone. So he says, she'ena gizela kayemet. Aval gizela kayemet. If the gizela is still there, you have to actually go and give back the gizela. So mamash, you have to, even if it's less, you have to go and you have to give it back. You know why? We suspect maybe it's going to go up in price. And if it goes up in price, now again, it's more than shaveh pruta. So for again, you have to actually go and give it back. Everyone understood the case. That, for example, somebody stole, and now he has to give it back. So he said you can't give it back to the son or to shaliach. You have to actually give it back to the person. So he said if it's a shaveh pruta, which means if it's valuable, if it has a value, you have to go to the person. Doesn't matter if it's in Honolulu, right, or the Bahamas, right, and you have to give it back. You understand? To give it back. Yeah, he comes and he says, but if it's less than a shaveh pruta, you don't have to go all the way there to come back. Whenever he comes to you, then you can give it back to him. So says the Gemara, that's only if, right, the gizela is not here anymore. But if the gizela is still in front of us, meaning let's say he stole this, and right now this is not shaveh pruta, but later on maybe it is going to be shaveh pruta. So in such a case, so then yes, why? Because maybe it's going to become more than shaveh pruta, but maybe it's going to become more expensive. Ikadamni, there are those that say, Amar Rav Papa says, Lo shna gizela kayemet, lo shna gizela kayemet, doesn't matter whether it's gizela kayemet or not. Eno tzarich lelech acharav leshema tiyaker lo chashin. You don't have to go to him. You know why? We don't suspect that it's going to become more expensive. we don't suspect that all of a sudden it's going to become more than a Shavet Pruta, and therefore you're okay. You have no problem. Okay? Right. Amar Rava. Rava says, Gazal shalosh agudot b'shalosh prutot. Imagine a person comes and he steals 3 agudot worth 3 prutot. Ve'uzlu, and it became cheaper. Ve'amdu al shtayim, and that became 2 prutot. Im echzir lo shtayim, if he gave him already 2 out of the 3 agudot, chayav lachzir lo ocheret, he still has to give back the 3rd one. Okay? That means he shouldn't say, listen, it went down in value, so now it's only 2 prutot. Meaning like this, let's say he stole 3 books. 3 books. Yeah, these are the good ones. Yeah. He sold these 3 books. Now, at the beginning, every single book was, let's say, $10 each. Or let's say it's Shavet Pruta, let's speak in the prutot. So let's say all 3 of them was going to be the worth of 3 prutot. So each one was Shavet Pruta. All of a sudden, it went down in value. There was an influx. Everyone started getting them. There was much less demand anymore because it was just so much of the supply. So therefore, it went down in value. And now it's only worth 2 prutot. So now he could say, listen, if right now 3 books are worth 2 prutot, when I stole, right, 2 prutot. But now 2 books are worth 2 prutot. So I'm only going to give back 2. הבנת? אני רק מחזיק 2.
שווה שהוא גנב?
לא, אז זה מה שהגמרא אומרת. That means right now you have to give back that which what he gave, what he stole. כן? מה שהוא גנב. אפילו אם עכשיו זה שווה יותר. No, you have to give back the 3rd one. ותנא תונא, so we learned. Yeah? גזל חמץ ועבר לו פסח. The person came and he stole chametz and then it passed Pesach. אומר לו, you could tell him, הרי שלך לפניך. This is yours. Take it. Tama dita bene. Says the reasoning why the gazlan is going to be yotzei chova, right, paying without paying real money, is only because the gezela is the exact same way. Halete bene. But let's say you don't have the chametz anymore. One more time, you sold chametz, and the chametz is right here. This is the chametz. And now avar alav Pesach. You could come back afterwards and say, Hare shelcha lefanecha, this is yours. Why can you do that? It's not worth anything anymore. After Pesach, Kaddish. He says, no, you know why? Because the chametz is still there. It's still be'eneh. But what happens if it's not there anymore? I already ate it. Right? But afterwards, or whatever, something happened to it. So now you have to actually give real money. So says the Gemara, even though right now it's not worth any money, because it was chametz shavar of Pesach, and the guy ate it after Pesach, Kevin the Ikara Mamona, since at the beginning it was money, Ba'u Shlumu he has to pay. So the same thing here. Even though right now it's not Shavet Pruta, since it was Shavet Pruta, Ba'u Shlumu he has to pay. Okay, which makes sense. He has to pay. So by Rava comes and he asks the following question: Shte agudot bepruta. If a person has 2 prutot which are worth 1 Shavet Pruta, or 2 agudot which are worth 1 pruta, v'echzilu acham, and he gives him back 1. Mi amrina, do we say now hashta leka gzela? There's no gzela. Well, Dilmar we say lo hadar gzela dahai gabe. He didn't give back the gzela at all. Meaning like this, maybe a person could say, listen, when he came and he wanted to, and he stole something that was $1. By him giving back 50 cents, maybe now it's not considered stealing anymore because it's left, whatever's left by you is only less than Shavet Pruta. So maybe there's no problem. Or do we say, no, he didn't give back the exact same thing that he took, right? So Hadar Pashte, so then he went and he answered, yeah, and what did he say? Gizela en kan, hashava en kan. He says, the leftover is not considered Isur Gizela, because it's in itself is not considered Shavet Pruta. Right? But there's also no hashava either. Right? Which means that you didn't give it back either. So it says the Gemara, make up your mind. What does gizela enka mean? Any sort of gezel. So means you gave back the $50, so now you're left only with his, so therefore there's no problem. But says the Gemara, if you're going to say that, right? So then what does it mean then hashava enkan? They didn't give it back. Make up your mind. It's either that there's no gizela, or that there's that, but there is hashava, or it's not. What do you mean? There's no gizela, but there's no hashava. What does that mean? Says the Gemara, Hachi Kaman. Afal pishe gizela en kan, mitzvat hashava en kan. You're right. It's not considered that you're stealing anymore. Why? Because you only have less than a shavet pruta in your pocket. But mitzat sheni, you didn't do the hashavat a gizela. There's a mitzvah veshiv et a gizela asher gazal. Yeah, veshiv et a gizela asher gazal. A person has a mitzvah of hashavat gizela. So says the Gemara, this hashavat gizela, you don't have the mitzvah here because you didn't give back. You only give back half. You didn't give back the full thing. So therefore you didn't do the hashava. So if there's no gizela, because it's not worth Shaveh Pruta anymore, right? Because you gave back the half of the Pruta, right? But there's no Hashava either. The Amar Rava says, Are Amru, they said, Nazir shegilach v'shir shte se'arot, lo asa velo klum. If a Nazir comes and he starts taking off his hair, but he left 2 hairs on his head, or wherever, right? So what happened? He didn't do anything. He did not do the giluach. The giluach has to be done completely, right? You cannot leave over 2 hairs. So by Rava comes and he says, Gilach achav nishra achad ma'u. What happens if he did do the giluach to the last one? To the second last one, sorry. And then the last one, it fell out on its own. What happens now? Do we say, since he didn't take off the last 2 hairs, there's no maseh giluach? Do we say, listen, at the end of the day, there's no more hairs left?
But when you finish to shave, we had 1 hair left.
No.
So that's
one more time. He went and he shaved everything except for 2. Said 2, there's still nothing. So he comes and he takes off 1, and the other one fell on its own.
At the same time that you will.
Yes. So now the question is, do you say that at the end of the day he didn't do the giluach of 2? Because he didn't cut off the 2. He only cut off 1. You're right, the other one disappeared, but it doesn't matter. Or do you say, no, at the end of the day he doesn't have any more hairs? So he says, Elmaleh Rava medifte l'Ravina, Nazir shegilach achat kamibai le'Rava. So it comes out what? Rava has a safek that what happens if he does 1 by 1? Pashut mitzvah giluach is mitkayemet. Even if you do it 1 by 1, it doesn't have to be 1 shot. Meaning, when you're cutting your hair, right, you don't have to do everything in 1 shot. You could cut 1 by 1. So if you're cutting 1 by 1, so to here, what's the big deal? You're doing 1 by 1. So says the Gemara. So Elmaleh, he comes and he says, Lo tzricha, what are we dealing with? He comes and he says, we're dealing with, right, kegon, nashar achat mehen, one of them fell off first, and then gilach achat mehen. Do we say, hashta mia lo yekal shiur, there's no shiur? Or deal, or maybe halav giluach, it's not considered giluach, right? The mi'ikara was at the beginning, he left over 2 hairs. And now when he took them off, there were no 2 hairs. So therefore, the second giluach was not considered a giluach because there was only 1 hair that he took off. The other hair disappeared. Yeah? So hadar pashta, so he answered, se'ar en kan, giluach en kan. There's no hair, but there's no giluach either. So the Gemara asks, make up your mind. If there's hair, right? If there's no hair, so then there's giluach. So it says, no, you're right. Even though that the other one fell off, and therefore there's no hair, but there's no mitzvah giluach. You didn't do the mitzvah. The mitzvah giluach is you yourself to come and take it off. You're right. Right now you don't have the hair, so there's no hair, but there's no mitzvah giluach. You didn't do the mitzvah. Because the mitzvah was that you had to take it off. Ve'amar Rava, and Rava comes and he says another question. They said chavit shenikba ustamu shmanim. Imagine right now you have a chavit which is made out of earthenware, right? And you have a hole which is enough in order to have tum'ah. Vesatmu shmanim, and you put the sediments. Sediments is on the bottom of the wine, right? That like the thick wine when it becomes thick. You put it and you blocked off the hole. So yitzilua, so that you saved the shmanim, saved it from, right, the tum'ah. So by Rava, Rava is going to come and he's going to ask the following question. Agaf chetzia mahu. What happens if a person came and, right, he closed it, half of it, and he only left half left. Meaning there was a full size of tum'ah. He came and he blocked half of the size of the tum'ah. So again, he didn't completely close it, but he blocked half. So do we say that it helps to save from tum'ah? Because at the end of the day, right, it had the knisat tum'ah, but right now it's not. Or do we say no, that at the end of the day, you still have the entire shiur, and if you didn't close off the shiur, you didn't save it. So that's our Mishnah. We learned in the Mishnah. Chavit shenikua v'satmua shenitzilua. Pakeka bizmura. If you stopped it with the zimura, right, ad sheimareach, right, until you come and you put the teeth. Hayuba shtayim. If it's going to have 2 different zimurot, ad sheimareach mitzadim. Uben zimura lechaverta. Tama de mireach. It's only because you came and you were mireach. If you did not do the stima with the mireach, so then no. So why? So he comes and he says, it's like that you closed off half of it. So Amri, so the answer, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there, ilo merach lokai. If you are not memareach the teeth, so if there's nothing there. Agav chetzia b'mini the kai. So therefore, when you're going to be sotem chetzi, so therefore, like for example, the teeth, so therefore you're going to have the stima. Okay? Fine. V'amar Rava, and Rava says, Hare Amru, they said, Gazal Chametz v'aval of Pesach. If they stole Chametz and then they were available of Pesach, Omer lo, he says, Hare Shalcha lefanecha. It's in front of you. Here it is. Yeah? By Rava. So Rava asked the following question. Kufi Amud Bet. Yeah? 105b. Nishba alav. What happens if a person stole the Chametz after it's Asur Bana and he says that he doesn't have it? So he swore falsely. What's alachana? Mi amrinan, do we say that if he would have stole it, he has to pay back? Mamona kakafale, because it's money. Or Dilmar maybe hashta miya tamanach. Here, right now, it's considered, right, that kilu, it's nothing. It's afar. It's afar be'alma. Yeah, that's what the Gemara is asking. It's considered afar be'alma. Velo kafale mamona. And therefore, he didn't do anything against money.
Why? Because the owner did
No, because it's already after Pesach. Chametz shaval of Pesach. It's like afar. So the Gemara is asking, do you say that it's afar be'alma because it's chametz shaval of Pesach, right? No, the guy stole it from the owner.
Right.
The guy stole it from the owner, and then it passed Pesach.
Pesach.
And since it's after Pesach that the guy did the shavua, so the guy did a shavua on afar because right now it's worthless. Yeah, but it's a chametz shaval of Pesach. So he says, right? Or do we say no? Or do we say really be'emet it is money, and that if he would have stolen it right now, he would have had to pay? So milta di baile Rava, something which was a question for Rava was simple to Rabba. The Amar Rabba, it says Rabba, Shori ganavta, vehu omer lo ganavti. So you imagine when somebody comes and he says, you stole my ox. So he says, no, I never stole it. So he asked him, so mativot secha, so why is it by you? Why do you have my ox? You stole my ox. No, I didn't steal it, so why is it by you?
It's not yours.
He answers, Shomer chinam ani alav. I'm a shomer chinam. Yeah? So, says the Gemara, right? And he says that he's a shomer chinam. So in such a case, and then again, he swears that he did not steal it. And then afterwards, he doesn't admit that he did steal it. He's going to be chayav. Why? Share patar atzmo migneva b'aveda. Because when he says that he's a shomer chinam, he just exempted himself from gneva b'aveda. Meaning, if somebody would steal it now, he's patur to pay. Because the shomer chinam does not pay if it was stolen or lost. Shomer sachar ani alav. But if he answered that I'm a shomer sachar, chayav, he's going to be chayav also. Because he just exempted himself from the achrayut that if it's going to break, right, be'ones, or it's going to die or things like that. So in these cases, it's going to be patur. Shoel ani alav. If he says that I'm a shoel, also he's going to be chayav. If you're a borrower, you're going to be patur if it dies during the regular work. You borrowed a car, and you're driving normally, and all of a sudden the car just dies. You're not obligated to pay anything. Why? You were doing the melacha, and then it broke in the middle. So you're going to be patur. Yeah, almas, you see from here. Afagav de akaim, right? Even though the shore is already in the Bishuta Ganav, Kevan di migniv mamona kakafa, since if it's going to be stolen, right, he's being kofer on mamon, Ashtanami so too mamona kakafa. He's going to be kofer on the mamon. V'chanami so to here afagav de afra be'almahu, even though the chametz is going to be stamafar, Kevan di migniv bar shlumele memon ma'almin, since if afterwards he's going to steal the chametz, he's going to need to pay. Ashtanami so to here mamona kakafale. He says he needs the mamona. Okay, fine. Yativ Rabba. Rabba comes and he's sitting. The Kamal Shmaita, and he's saying this braita. Yeah. So he says, Eit Rav Amram le Rabba. So ask Rav Amram to Rabba. The Chicheshba, it's written. The Chicheshba means, right, that there's no chiyuv, right, of the parasha saying only in a case where you actually swore falsely. Correct? Okay. So he says Prat lemodeh ba'ikar. That's going to be excluding a case where he's modeh in the ikar and he's only being kofer in the pratim. Meaning like this. Imagine a person comes and he says, you stole. He agrees that he stole, but he argues on the little details. So in such a case, it's a different halacha. So Keitzad, Shori ganavta, vehu omer, and he says, lo ganavti, mativot tzachos, what's it doing by you? Atama, you sold it to me. Or you said you gave it to me as a present. Or your father sold it to me, or your father gave it to me as a present. Right? Achar parati rats, right? Or the shore is running after and it came into my possession. Or me'elav ba'etzli, it came on its own. right? Or toeh b'derech mitzativ. I found it was lost on the way. Shomer chinam ani, shomer sechar, shoel, v'nishba ve'oda. Yachol yeh chayav. I would have thought you're going to be chayav. Tamun omar v'chi cheshba prat lamudeh ba'ikar. So basically, since he's agreeing that it's yours, even though he went and he lied and he swore and about the details, he's not going to be chayav. So if you come, what are you doing with my office? Well, it came out on its own. You agree that it's my office, but you lied about how it got to you. You said you're a shomer chinam. I never made you a shomer chinam. Or that it was running after your animals and it came into your property. You agreed that it's mine, but you lied about the details. Yeah? In such a case, you're going to be patur. Because when it says v'chi cheshba, the right that you're coming and you're lying about it and you're swearing about it, that's only if you're going against the ikar. But if you agree on the ikar and you're only v'chi cheshba on the pratim, on the details, you're not going to be chayav. So Elmaleh comes and he says tedura, right? He says en lev. Why? Kitanya hi de kama lehelach. What are we talking about in such a case? He says ki kamina. When we were talking about the kaima ba'agam, if it's going to be in a swamp, which means like this. When does the Braita say such a thing? When the ganav comes and he tells the tovea, hilach, take it, right? Bechavod, I have no problem. But what happens right now if it's not here, and it's going to be in the agam, in the swamp? So therefore, in such a case, the ganav cannot come and say, "I gave it back to you." You know why? Because it's now stuck in a swamp. Who's going to get out of the way? Yeah, you have to, exactly. You're going to have to pull it out, a crane to pull it out. Like, what are you going to do now? So because of that, that's why it's completely different halacha. Okay? Next. Ata mechartoli, my modeh beikar ika. Says the Gemara, right? Which hoda'a beikar is there if he's going to be toen, right? That it's his and it's not the toveh at all. So he says, no, lo tzricha lo natati lecha dameh shakil torach vezil. If he went and he said, you sold it to me, so he is arguing on the entire thing. If he says that it's yours, but it ran into my property, it's yours, but I found it lost. It's yours, I'm shomer chinam, shomer sachar, shoel. All those things make sense. But if I say that you sold it to me, now who does it belong to? Me. It's not you. So he's going against the entire Tana. So answers the Gemara, no. He says that you sold it to me, but I didn't give you the money. So take back the shore. So it's still yours, kid. But I didn't give you the money. Okay? So he says, Atana tatoli, or you gave it to me, or your father gave it to me. So he comes and he says, my moda bikarika. He says, 1 second, here you do have it. So he says, Elmaleh, he says, Aminat, tavina lach nayich nafsha, on condition that it's going to do nachat ruach to the shore. Velo avdilach, and I didn't do it. That means basically, you basically told me, if you're going to do me this favor, I'm going to give you the ox. And I didn't do it. So I'm not going to give you the ox. Velo avdilacha. Shakir torach, so take it back. You're right, you gave it to me. But you only gave it to me because I was going to do something for you. And then at the end, I didn't do it. So here, take it back. Okay? I found it that it was lost on the path. Yeah, you're hard with it? Yeah? If you find it that it's lost on the path. Okay. Yeah, so toeh. Yeah, so he says he's lost. Right? So what happens? Right? He says, I wanted to give it back to you. I wanted to give it back to you. You caught me too early. I was going to give it back to you. You understand? And it's a problem. You understand? So says the Gemara, I wanted to give it back to you. So Amar Avodah the Shmuel says, "Ve'omer shavua shaveda matzati, ve'lo iti yodea shishelcha." He says, no. He went and he's made a shavua. He says, no, I found it, but I didn't know it was yours. Meaning, yeah, I did find it, but I didn't know it was yours. So Tanya, we learned in the Braita. Amar ben Azai says, ben Azai, shalosh shavuoten. There's going to be 3 different ways of making a shavua. Okay? Sheikir ba velo b'motzah. That means basically he saw, the Ed comes and he sees that is going in a person's property, but he doesn't know who is the one that he found it. Another one, he saw that they found an animal, but he didn't know who's the owner of the animal. Number 3, he doesn't know who's the owner, and he doesn't know who actually found it. Like he doesn't know what's going on. So so if he doesn't know who's the owner, and he doesn't know where it is, like meaning that what property, so he didn't swear falsely. What's the problem? So says Gemara, you're right. Both of them. He does know who it is. He doesn't know who it is. He says, Rav Amar, right? Rabbi Chanina says, Rabbi Chanina, liftur, right? To teach you that in all these cases, it's going to be patur, the ed from Kurban, Shavuot Edut. And Shmuel says, no, he's going to be chayav. Uflukta danitana, and this is also another machloket. Hamashbi'a ed echad, patur. The Braita says, if you're going to be mashbi'a one ed, you're going to be patur from Kurban Shavuot Edut. Right? Why? Because a yachid cannot do anything. He's one ed, one witness. He can't do anything. Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Shimon says he's going to be chayav. Because if somebody else would come with him, he's going, no, because he says that even that he's also mechayev shavua. When one witness comes, he could be mechayev shavua. So the fact that this guy could be mechayev shavua, that's why he's going to be chayav. So what is the machlok between them exactly? More savar davar gorem lemamon kemamon dami. One of them holds that anything which causes money is considered money. Or more savar lav kemamon dami. Another one says it's not considered money. So Amar Rav Sheshat says Rav Sheshat, hakofer bepikadon. If somebody is going to be kofer bepikadon, asar lav gazlan. He's going to become a gazlan. V'chayav be'onsin. He's going to be chayav be'onsin. L'tana tuna, and we learned v'chichesh v'alamanu onesh azara minayin. How do we know? We learn lo techachashu. My love, we're not talking about then the onesh mamon. We're talking about onesh of money. So says Gemara, no, le onesh shavua. We're talking about an onesh of a shavua. So says, what does that mean? Because the chet of the shavua that he made. That means he sinned because of the shavua. So says the fact that we learned in the sefer the ishtaba that he swore. So it's mashman the reisha. He didn't make a shavua, right? Diktani seifa, because we learned in the seifa, and he shba al sheker. Lamanu onesh azara minayin. How do we know about the azara? Tamun lomar. That means you always need a warning. How do you know about the warning? Lo teshakeru. And from the seifa it says the ishtaba. So the reisha is also talking about. So that means if the Seifa is talking about Ishtaba, so the Reish is not talking about Ishtaba, then he didn't swear. So Amri, they said it's not true. Idi v'idi be'emeh, both cases he did swear. The Kan Shodav, Kan Sheba Edim. One of them he was Modeh. The other one witnesses came. So Atu Edim, if the witnesses come, he's going to be Chayav Be'onsin. For Udu Yehudu, he's going to be Chayav Be'kerem V'chomesh V'asham. But when he's going to be Modeh, he's going to be Chayav on the principle, in the Chomesh, in the 1/5, and in the Korban Hasham. Because he swore falsely. So that's what he has to do. He has to pay all those things. Okay? Fine. Mativ Rabbi Bar Chama. Rabbi Chama comes and he asks the following question. What happens if the guy is suspected on false swearing? Yeah? That means the guy that you're talking to, you already know he swears falsely. So what does it help to make him swear? Right? He's suspected of that. So what is it going to help? So he says, right, so he's already kafur, so then that's it. So he's already pasul for the shavua, right? And a gazlan is already going to be pasul for shavua. So says the Gemara, it's in a swamp. But it's not kvira. The savar that he says, he says, I'm going to get out of it from now, and I'm going to bring it to him. Right? I mean, sometimes it happens. He said, no, I don't have anything. And then you go and you get the money, and then here's the money. But you were buying time. You were buying zman, right? You taratzita zman b'shel Shalom, so you just bought it. Okay, Teida, you should know. If you come and you say that you did not have a malveh, you didn't have a loan, and then there were witnesses that said no, that you did, you're going to be kasher edut. We're not going to say that you're going to be chashud on other avirot. Why? Because you just had a kavanah to push it off. Right? Bepikadon, you're going to be pasul vedut. Everyone understood the difference? One more time. If I come and I tell you owe me money, and you try to get out of it, and no, I say that the reason why not because you didn't want to pay back. You just needed to buy time. So you're not going to be pasul for other cases. But if I come and I tell you, here, I give you a pikadon, and then collateral. Also, you say, well, you didn't give me anything. There, you're going to be pasul vedut for sure. Okay, so there's a big difference between them. Okay? But Bezat Hashem will continue.
Very